what you like. Still got you going my way. Say what you like. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. Follow me. Follow Nita, 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 follow Nita. 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 Come on and say what you like. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. So you can say, do what you like. Still got you going my way. Say what you like. Come on. Do what you like. Yeah, yeah. Still got you going my way. Yeah, yeah. Say what you like. Come on. Do what you like. Hey, hey. Still got you going my way. I will keep on pushing, no matter what they say. All the great things in this world will come to me one day. Opportunity knocks on my door when least expected. All I got to do, my friend, is reach out and grab it. Say what you like. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. Say what you like. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. Come on and say, do. Still got you going my way. Yeah, yeah. Say what you like. Hey, hey. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. Or you can say what you like. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. Say what you like. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. I got you, baby. Say what you like. Come on. Do what you like. Still got you going my way. Yeah. Say what you like. Say it. Do what you like. Oh, baby. Got you going my way. Still got you going my way. Say what you like. Say it. Do what you like. Oh, do it. Still got you going my way. I feel it. Say what you like. Say what you like.
A dream where the powerful and the powerless will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream that fraternities will build beyond internal architecture into a national bond, that the walls of design will give way to the bridges of brotherhood, not a fraternity of symbol, but a brotherhood of substance. I have a dream that we remain focused, that we stay in our conviction and remain fearless, that we double down, fortified, to return this Bahamaland to the foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. Grateful to be in your company. Grateful to be here. Forgive us for this late entrance. Technical difficulties these days, just trying to be able to make sure that everything is set for our great meeting that we're going to be having today, our interview, and just trying to be able to make sure that we got everything laid out. Hope you guys are good, man. I know you haven't seen me for about 2 days. We had a rebroadcast yesterday, and we saw Belinda's show on Monday. Got a call on Wednesday, right? So yesterday we did a rebroadcast, and Wednesday you would have been able to see Belinda's show. I had an opportunity to be able to sit with her, just like a pinch over an hour. I didn't think we did 2 full hours, but we had a good conversation, and I am grateful for the opportunity that she's taken to sit with me. I am a little disappointed, though, because if I had known that you always go on strike on Thursday, I would ask some questions specifically. Somebody send me these texts, please. Send me the whispers so I could bring it to light. Amen. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to be able to do that, and kind of be able to talk with her about that. But we had a very good conversation. I thought the conversation was good. Got a call on Wednesday, and the call spoke to the fact that, Howard, I just listened to your entire interview with Belinda. It was a good interview, Howard. It was good, but the tone in which Belinda took, right? And these are people who I admire significantly. The tone in which Belinda took, to be able to speak in a level or perceived condescension against the established, the elected, those individuals in strategic positions. And I said, well, listen, before I ever got in this game, this is what Belinda was doing. So yeah, but it's time for us to be able to have respect in terms of our approach to be able to deal with these. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think we are very casual in this country, and our leaders have shown us how to be speak with disdain. I don't know if it's because of our social sort of appetite has given way to this particular posture. I don't know whether or not this is the idea of what we view as democracy, and being able to eradicate or extract the diplomacy in that. But this is how Belinda is. This is how she is. And her consecutive 10 years or 10 seasons in terms of her winning must be as a result of persons being able to be satisfied. Talk to me. With her posture and the things that she would have done in that space. I can't fight her. I thought it was good. I always accepted her for who she is. And but it's a good note to make for all those upcoming politicians, leaders in our country, not necessarily only politicians, but all upcoming leaders in our country, with the desire to be able to make some things happen. And moving forward, it's important that we all understand our position. I know you could be able to see the technical difficulties. I got two pigeon or penguin in the back there. We can deal with it, right? What's that? Peacocking. We got two peacocks back there. We can deal with the peacocks. We can deal with those particular things, but we're going to have good conversations with you. And grateful to be in your company today. Listen, man, on Thursday, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about what happened on Thursday? Do you think that the union has taken it too far? Do you think that this is something that was long gone and drawn out? Today I'm going to be asking the minister a couple of those particular questions and finding out whether or not we are in this strategic position where our appetites are, where we're hungry for more, rather. Where we're hungry for more. And that's one of the things that I want to be able to talk about today. In the news yesterday, Sabas. I know you want to talk about that. Sabas, or like our good friend Rodney, God bless his soul. God bless the dead, us black people. God bless the dead, right? Rodney Bunker would have called him Sabats. Never took that. I never forgot that. And Sabas, I'm ready to serve. Fort Charlotte. Say he's willing to step down. He has over 20 businesses, and he only stands as CEO of one of those businesses and one of those positions. This is an amazing thing. Sabas, you ready for this? This is a lot. I know all of us want to be able to see beyond this, right? I know all of us want to get in this kind of a position where we can look beyond. And we could be able to make a determination and say, this is why he's serving. This is why he's doing such and such. This is interesting, man. I want to be able to find out more about it and find out more information about these particular things. I'm hoping that he doesn't relegate all of his interviews solely to Eyewitness and the entity that he has in that particular space. I'm hoping that he would give us, the community and all the other colleagues that exist in this particular media space. I'm hoping that he gives us an opportunity to interview him. Because I got some questions for him. Yeah, I got some questions for him, and he's been superb as it relates to his posture. I have to say this to you. I'm watching. This is what I do. This is my job. Okay? I don't think you understand that, but this is my job. My job is to observe and report. It's almost like a security officer, right? Observe and report. And as a result of this observation and reporting, I've seen some things. Now, those things that I've seen, and the way I can be able to identify what Sabas has done, is just like being able to say to you that I think that he has a very strong team behind him. I watch Sabas answer questions. He's poised. He's calculated. He anticipates. He's prepared. He's prepared. And he doesn't answer it with reluctance. He doesn't answer it with the idea of being able to pull back. He is prepared. So what does it mean? Are you going to be stepping down from your position as CEO of Island Luck? Of course. I have a capable team. I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to serve. And even if it wasn't for this, I would be stepping down because there are persons in these particular positions. Sabas. Our society ain't built like this, Sabas. This is a masterclass in leadership. That he's identified, this thing that he's built himself. That he's built and established. That he's expanded. That he took so much pride in, that made him a multi-millionaire. He's willing to leave it there. Build and move forward. And then he says, a higher calling. Whoa, Sabas, your language is bananas. You are prepared for some stuff. Who tell him to say this? This leadership. And I know that he has a team that's prepping him. We don't see that much in politics. We know that you have an entourage with you, a lot of the politicians. But a lot of them just there to kiss your behind. Not in a bad way. I don't want you to, don't fight me. These fellas who swarm the politicians, they ain't there to help them. Politicians still can't articulate, still ain't insightful, still ain't got these particular things, still don't be able to speak with the language of community, still don't understand the superior cause of why they're doing these things. All these man them you got around, you wrap around the place. Boss, you hungry? You want me to go get you something to eat? Yeah, man. Boss, me hungry. Let me go get us 2 chicken in the bag. That's what you're there for. That's what you're there for. It's apparent that you're there for lunch. And your pretty suit. You got about 2 or 3 of them. You just mix it up like Steve Harvey tell you all to do. Oh, the beige goes with the black. The black goes good. Yeah, that's what you do. So you mix up the situation. But you roll in with the boss. But you have nothing to give him. You're rolling in. You're sitting with him. You got the camera on. You're lotioning. Oh, yes, boss, you did so well. No one can say, hey, listen, did you consider this? Did you consider that? And even if you consider telling him that, is the boss, the member of parliament, the cabinet minister, prepared to absorb this information and apply it accordingly? It's just questions. Is it nothing heavy? It's just questions. Just questions. I'm watching Sabas, multi-millionaire in this country. I'm watching him. And then I watch his posture. I watch his tone. And I say his posture, does he come puffed up? Is his chest out? Is his shoulders high? Right? Does he have this arrogance in his eye? Does he deflect? Or is he open? Is he transparent? Is he vulnerable? Just a pinch. Is he willing to tell a story behind what we assume, identify as the success that is Sabas. And I'm watching him and I'm saying, this guy's ready for big boy action. That's big boy action. I read an article in the paper today, just a little smidgen, nothing too much. At 1 o'clock, guys, we're going to be able to have Michael Alkitis being able to sit with us. So just be prepared for that, so we can be able to get into that. I read a little smidge, just a little piece of something in the paper today. This is the Tribune, and the Tribune gave us right there in the editorial section, just a little piece I read today. It wasn't nothing to talk about. And so again, it says, the game inside the Progressive Liberal Party has changed. And if Chester Cooper is sleeping well tonight, he should not be. What how the hell you get Chester in this thing? Are you get Bahamian truth? Are you get how Chester getting this? How you get Chester in this? You all Bahamian missed the punch bad. You need something salacious to say. You need to stir up something. You need people to be able to talk about something. Listen to me. Sabas don't need this. He is willing to let all of what he has established go to get to a position that he's called. I didn't call it. I listened to him. He called it a higher calling, a higher level of service. Now you could speculate and say, well, that's me just talking. He's just saying. You could do that if you wish. But he said, you see, we so eager to get to the bottom line. Why are you doing this? You wasting a father who I just meet his daughter. His daughter said, well, come and meet my daddy. Come and meet my daddy. I don't even know this girl. I just dropping her home. Father, right off the top, what is your intentions with my daughter? So I don't even know your daughter. I just dropping her home. That's what this is. That's all this is. You want to know the intentions of Sabas now to see whether or not he's moving towards leadership. Sabas have a hell of a long way to go. Yo, stop talking garbage. Sabas have a hell of a long way to go before he can get to the position of leadership in this party. Especially because Chester Cooper sit in this position. Now, Chester Cooper did some supersession in the organization. Supersession. It was like sublimation. He never went through a particular phase. He went right over that. Supersession. I don't believe that would happen for everyone. There is an anomaly. There's the rule, is the principle that exists in these particular things. And then, there's a sort of an oddball. Chester Cooper was that. He was ripe during that time. And the time that he came in, the environment was rich and ready for youth. The PLP was transitioning. They were shifting their position. They'd just gotten wiped out significantly. And they were making modifications to their constitution. The party had made a determination that they need to be able to give a youthful prospect and be able to pour into youth. Even the language right now of the chairman is we need to be able to bring youth in. Anytime I talk to Fred, he's always saying, Howard, you got to talk to Darren. You got to be able to talk to Randy. You got to be able to talk to these youthful guys. You got to talk to the young people. These are the next persons that's going to be coming up in the organization. Every time I talk to Fred. So the party has taken on this sort of a concept to be able to move in a particular... And this was sort of the catalyst that helped Chester Cooper in a particular way. And so he was viewed in the organization in a particular manner, as opposed to being rejected and persons saying, well, boy, you know how long I was on this damn line? You see, people say this. That's what they say. You know how long I was on this line? Yeah. The organization had prepared themselves to be able to say, and they prepared their body to say, we're going to put youth at the forefront. The organization has done that. We're going to put youth at the forefront. That is why, watch me, we're getting deep now. That is why I was sure that Robert Nye was going to win the chairmanship. I thought this was set up by those in strategic positions. But when you all fight against her, I say Jesus all the way. I don't think they said, I don't think they said her like this. Not to fight the woman, right? But the party had prepared themselves for that. Chester was a beneficiary of the transformation and the transition that was happening in the organization. Because the foundation has been laid, because those who were the forerunners and in strategic position to get to this space of change, when this happened, Chester benefited significantly from it, and others, not just Chester. Joe Beth, Tyrell Young, Lightbourne out of North Andros, even Kirk Cornish. There's a great deal of people that I can be able to go and name who has presented themselves in frontline politics who's done well. But some other persons at the back end, they've also done well. I tell you, the PLP is doing well, man, in terms of being able to put their money where their mouth is. I know you won't cuss, right? Well, they ain't pay us yet. I didn't mean like that. I mean their money where their mouth is as it relates to being able to really say, I'm getting into youth, we're focusing on youth and putting youth in position. You understand? When we saw Clint Watson in this particular position, we said, oh, okay, what's going on here? When we saw Latreille move in this position, we said, oh, okay, what's the PLP doing? They were serious about this stuff. They were serious about this stuff. And to find myself falling in line with the overwhelming sentiments that continue to be able to bombard me everywhere I go about, and this is for years, these sentiments bombard me for years about our current Prime Minister, that he's a man of his word. And I'm seeing now, in this season, after we then put him to work for his traveling all over the world, after we put him to work for being able to look at climate change from an external standpoint, after we put him to work for so many things, he's still showing us that he's a man of his word. And he's showing up. He's showing up. And this may not be an easy thing. I took you from Sebas to Chester to now the Prime Minister. It's not an easy thing. When we start to talk about politics, it's sometimes a slippery slope. Sometimes a slippery slope, but this is all being able to draw you back into a very clear understanding that the PLP is preparing themselves. And I couldn't tell you whether or not victory was inevitable or victory is afoot for the PLP. I can tell you that they are preparing the ground and empowering people that even if victory slips them, misses them by an inch or a mile, their organization is still established for another 70 years. This is an amazing thing. They're putting youth in place. They're putting innovation in place. They're putting creativity in place. They're putting entrepreneurialism in place. They're putting innovation in place. They're putting in place persons who have the wherewithal to take care of themselves during a time of drought, because that's what's been happening in this country. What's been happening in this country is that when your political organization ain't in, you have to consider prostitution, you have to consider robbery, you have to consider, do I really need both kidneys? You have to consider these things because you ain't eating at all. And in the midst of your consideration for all of these particular things, you can't wait for the next 5 years. You can't wait for the next 5 years because you are in a space of dryness. You're like the demons who get cast out into the dry place. That has been the culture of what has been happening in this country since I came to my conscious understanding of what politics is in this country. I watch people who've been in politics for years cannot eat when they're partying. Yeah, but Howard, but you won't buy me one bear? I'll buy you a bear. A bear? You mean like a grizzly? Because you can't mean like a click. You need to stop, sir. Huh? That's how these people live. That's how they live. And the PLP recognizing that as empowering people, one, providing opportunity for those people, two, and identifying people who are strategically in that position that in the time of lull, because it's inevitable, that's how the country goes, right, left, right, left, right, left, that's how the country goes. If we ever get back to this place that we're not in government, we can still be in a strategic position to be able to take care of our people, and innovation can still pour in because they ain't hungry. They can think because their dependency is not on government and the purse of government and what we can do for them. They prepared themselves and they are now able to continue to be able to foster education, information, and pour into the organization. The PLP thinking. The PLP thinking. You ain't like that. You want to fight me? Go ahead and fight me. You ain't like that. But the PLP is thinking. And everybody else seemed to be stinking thinking. With the desire to be able to get back into a salacious yesteryear. You so eager to be able to find a divide that you won't be able to pit Chester Cooper and Sabas. Sabas won't even reach yet. You want to pit Chester Cooper and Sabas against each other because you're looking for fight. You are an instigating hog. Not in a bad way. I just want to be decent with you. You're an instigator. And you instigate so deep, you can't even put your real name there. Your mother didn't name you Bohemian Truth. This is nobody can trust the old people. Y'all don't even want to put your own name there because you know what you're saying is garbage. And if you put your name there, they wouldn't let you in church on Sunday. You know that. You know that. So you put these things here and you think we're supposed to be okay with that. The PLP is an organization that I'm truly impressed with. I truly am. And as I grow and I mature and I understand life and the expansion of life and I get experiences and I just realize these particular things, I am truly impressed with the PLP. I'm not impressed with the allegations that's been levied against them for years, that they corrupt organization, that they thief elections, that they do this, that they do that. That's where all the drug boys is. That's where all the money is. That's where all the thieving is. That's where all for me baby is. That's where 10% of this is. Everything you get, they try to be able to keep it. Yeah, this is an organization that a great deal of negativity has been said about them over the years. But in my dispensation, in my time, and the exposure that I have and the proximity that I have to these men and women and being able to observe with clarity what's happening in these organizations, I could say to you that the PLP is the only organization in this country that's thinking about tomorrow. No, I'm not talking about the confines of government. I'm talking about within the confines of their organization. I'm not just talking about the PYL, Progressive Youth, PLY, was it PYL? I'm just not talking about that. On that, in contrast to the Torchbearers, I'm talking about an organization whose deliberate and specific strategy and approach is to place youth in a position of power, empower them to ensure that they can take over the party. The average age of PLP leadership got to be 65. The average age, if you add all their age up and you divide it by the number of who there is, the average age got to be 65. Got to be. I'm talking about top tier leadership in the PLP. I'm not talking about leaders. I'm not talking about the cabinet because that's government. I'm talking about the top tier leadership in the PLP. The average age got to be 65. If it ain't 65, it's higher. And them recognizing that our time soon come, Bala. Our brothers and sisters are leaving us almost daily. We have to put a concession plan in place an opportunity for youth to access this, to keep the vibe, the dream, the idea, the hope, the new day essence alive. They're doing a good job at it. Now, I could tell you the contrast of what I've seen also, but you don't want to hear that. Y'all can call big people for me. Tell that boy shut up, eh? Let him go. He talks too damn much. Yeah. So I won't give you the contrast, but I would say to you that this is what I'm seeing in the Progressive Liberal Party, and I want to be able to commend them for taking on this position. I want to commend them for being able to do this, and I also want to commend Sabas for recognizing that he's not bigger than the party. Oh, Jesus. In Abaco right now, North Abaco, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, his constituency, the Free National Movement had placed strategically in position and ratified Bootle, last name Bootle, a young lady who's sort of a navel strings in North Abaco. Now, those persons in North Abaco were not afforded the opportunity to be able to tap into this. They didn't. They had to sit back, and there was a super session that took place in North Abaco, where a particular individual of high-ranking political ilk in this country push, based upon the stories that we read, oh God, push Bootle on the constituency, and they didn't want her. Now, after ratification, everyone's supposed to just be able to settle down and relax. This woman then ratified, and the constituency association still making noise that they didn't like how Hubert Ingram did that. But you won't fire me when I say it. Oh, whoa, I don't understand y'all. When I was on the People Radio and I said, it seems to me, based upon the information that I'm getting, based upon what I'm seeing on the ground, based upon what happened in Eleuthera, based upon what happened in North Abaco, based upon what happened in South Beach, it seems to me that Hubert Ingram thumb in this thing. Y'all won't fire me. You call the white man and tell him, get rid of that boy. I gone. And you're still having problems in the FNM. The woman ratified, and after ratification, you still can't find a space where you could calm down and support your candidate. What the hell's going on? I'm watching Michael Pintard take on a position, and Michael Pintard is saying that the Prime Minister had to show up and clasping Belinda hand and clasping Kingsley hand and walking out to the crowd. At least he walk out, eh? At least he walk out, he ain't hide around the back and gone. He walk out in the middle of the crowd, clasping their hands, and have the crowd be quiet and made a commitment to the people. So first and foremost, when I paid y'all, that wasn't because of negotiation. That's because that's something I did out of my heart. And secondly, I can give you all your money before Christmas, eh? Before Christmas, you get straight. And you're singing, if you can't get the money, ring the bell. If you can't ring the money, what you say? If you can't get our money, ring the bell. I said, why? I never hear this kind of jam. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Y'all passionate about this thing. Prime Minister Brave Davis, come right there, shut your radar. Bang! Watch me. And through observation, through the necessity of being able to simply say something. That's all it was. He had to say something. This is marveling, mind-boggling. How did Brave do this? An angry mob, chomping at the bit. Brave came out there. I get you straight, eh? And they believe him. And then you hear Michael Pintar take on this position and say, well, he had to come out there. He was pressured to come out there. Well, weren't you pressured to go to North Abaco? Oh, Jesus. That's what the people's story saying. The people paper. They see nobody saying that and whisper in my ear. This is written words. You had to go to North Abaco to try to be able to quell, to quench. They caused it to be, to subside, to reduce, to dampen. This mob that exists within your organization. Again, it happened in South Beach. It was about to happen in Kalani. It happened. It happened in Southern Shores only because decency exists in Southern Shores. They didn't say nothing about it. It happened in North Abaco. It happened in Eleuthera. It keep happening. It keep on happening. Everywhere there is obviously supersession while you continue to be able to talk about the democracy that exists in the organization. And people give you the facade, the silhouette of the concept of what democracy is. And then they put their own people in there. Ain't nobody into that. Ain't nobody, we supposed to take that. We take it for years. For years, Hubert Ingram walk in and say, well, I know what you want for y'all. And I really appreciate you, and I want you to be able to choose. He do that for Pakeisha Parker. You all don't understand. I don't like this foolishness, you know. I don't like this foolishness. Everybody sitting down with their letters written to be able to go through a democratic process. Hubert Ingram walks in with his person and say, well, I want you to be able to choose this person for me. And bang! That's it. And it happening again, and again, and again, and again. And you want people to support the F&M? The F&M can't support themselves. You in this position because of Hubert Ingram. Yes, he has significant political clout in this country. But he's not connected to the future. He's connected to our past. And what we do, pay homage to the past. We learn from our past. We don't drag the past into the future because it will become yesterday. And that's where the F&M is right now. And yesterday. While you continue to be able to talk about the the Progressive Liberal Party as thieves, as a corrupt organization, what the hell are you doing? Eradicating democracy. Limb by limb, thread by thread, fiber by fiber, you are eradicating the concept and idea of what democracy is. And then you seek to make modifications to fortify your constitution to be able to create and fortify this idea of what you created, what democracy could be. No transparency in this. None. This is a translucent process. But y'all don't like me to talk about that. I say it, the people get rid of me. Now the people, even after ratification, is unsettled because there was a supersession that existed here and you superseded democracy. But I say it. You tell me I can say these things. You tell me I can talk. Nobody sent me a writ yet. No one. Why haven't you sent me a cease and desist? If I lie on you, send me a cease and desist. Why haven't you sent me a summons and tell me, Howard, meet me in court. Let me put my damn evidence before the magistrate. Because this has been your fruits. This has been his fruits. Listen, man, no one can take away what you would have done for this country. But where this country need to go, the F&M needs to wake up and understand strategically we have to put youthful minds that's connected for a global understanding to be able to make the country move forward. But you're not doing that. You're not doing that. You're not. I'm sitting on my own platform. I ain't got to worry about nobody calling me the HR. I am HR. I can't even get away. Amen, Jesus. I got to worry about none of these things. Sitting on my own space. And we have to have a very clear understanding. Either you're content with it, and you're content with garbage. I had a call the other day. It's almost 1 o'clock. I had a call the other day. And there's a good friend who was telling me about some issues that they were dealing with I wouldn't go into it and talk about these particular things, but they were talking to me about these issues. And in talking to me about the issues, they told me that they've spoken to several other people who they hold near and dear to themselves as confidants. They had spoken to them about the issue also. And everyone says, well, you're going to have to make a decision to either change entirely or move forward. That's it. If you could recognize the issue, you've identified the issue, you could articulate the issue, you are pissed off because of the issue, you could feel the pain on this particular thing. Every time you drop to sleep and you wake up, the issue right there, it's heavy on your heart, it's burden, and you still aren't willing, because you have the power to make a decision, the FNM. The FNM has the power to make a decision. You all have the power to make a decision to be able to be honest and graceful with the former Prime Minister. You haven't done that because of the influence of... Hello, I can't get away, man. You were not graceful. You were not graceful with a former Prime Minister, ousting him out of the organization, ratifying someone else right under his nose, being able to identify those things as a sitting member of Parliament, all these particular things. You have the power to make a decision. But your decisions always find themselves, the ethos of that decision find itself tethered to Geppetto, tethered to the core of Hubert Ingram, spewing out like octopus arms with tentacles all over, and this is the decisions that you make. You are willing to be able to ignore, reject, and defame, socially and otherwise, a sitting prime minister, a former sitting prime minister, because of what yesterday told you. No consideration for the grace, for the democracy, for the constitution that exists in your organization, but you won't come to us. Stop it. I just get pissed off every time I talk with them because y'all talk with two tongue too much. I listen into people and y'all are just freaking, listen, I feel like cussing sometimes. Y'all are just yellow belly, no back vertebrate people, man. How the hell you could come to Howard Grant, say one thing, and when it's time for you to stand up in your council to be able to say something, you can't say nothing for yourself? How? How is it that you need change in your organization that you could articulate and say, well, Howard, you ain't saying nothing wrong, but it just didn't like that? How? How can you say that to me and say it to so many persons, but you can't say it to the leadership in your organization? How, man? How? You can do better than this. I just explained to you. The PLP was about to die in 2017. They was about to die. They was on the verge of death. And they resurrected like a phoenix. By being able to understand that we cannot take this into our future. And this, in many instances, represent individuals. We cannot take this mindset, these people, into our future. We got to find young people. We got to give them the baton now before it's too late. Now the FNM. First 17 people you roll out. Anyway, Jesus. Praise God. I'm not going to fight you. We're going to be decent today. We're going to try. But you got me heated under the collar because I want more for this country. And so many of us view politics as that avenue. But I can tell you, as I look at this and identify this, if politics is that avenue, you are eroding the future. You are killing our chances by these poor decisions that you make today. Quick break, guys. Gonna be right back after this.
to mop it up when no one else around. There's a hole in my heart where love used to be. I try to hide the pain I don't want you to see. It's such a heavy load, no one can bear it. No one understands, so I cannot share it. I cry out for help, but I get no helping hand. Only Jaja love can heal this aching man. There's a hole in my heart, my blood is on the ground. I try to mop it up when no one else around. There's a hole in my heart where love used to be. I try to hide the pain I don't want you to see. In a my dark room, I search for the mirror. Someone stares at me, begging to be free. I reach for the light, but I cannot turn it on. I try to get up, but all my strength is gone. There's a hole in my heart, my blood is on the ground. I try to mop it up when no one else around. There's a hole in my heart where love used to be. I try to hide the pain I don't want you to see. Isolation, apprehension, irritation and rejection flood over me. But better a lover's blows than the kiss of the enemy. Maybe I should leave, but where can I go? No one else I see can lead me to the key. It's such a lonely road, but I hold on to your promise. I gotta keep searching until I find a way. There's a hole in my heart, my blood is on the ground. I try to mop it up when no one else around. There's a hole in my heart where love used to be. I try to hide the pain I don't want you to see. There's a hole in my heart, hole in my heart. I try to hide the pain I don't want you to see. There's a hole in my heart where love used to be. Hole in my heart.
Yes! Yeah, man. Ain't nothing like having your own things. I try to pay the rent, man. Let's go.
To get the real estate, now it would mean a lot. There's so much I can do with that same little spot. Whatever is the cost, I would not hesitate. Now wouldn't it be great to get piece of that real
Listen
estate?
here.
Miss, I heard you selling, I want buy a piece of your land. I ain't got much money, I's a hard working man. You got the property, and I like just what I see. So could you ease up on that price just for me? She showed me one little piece, it had a couple sprouts, but that ain't nothing much that I had to worry about. I'll just clean it up. I'll pick up every twig. I'll take out my shovel and man, I'll start to dig just to that would you know this which I can do with the sea. Oh no, whatever is the cause, I would not hesitate. Now wouldn't it be great to get piece of that real estate? That's fun! Oh, look here. Miss, I just work hard and hard working man. Watch your way through my pickaxe and broomstick with them. Let's go! All over the world, man fighting over space. They want their own land, they want their own place. You know how good it feels to have a piece of land, to have a nice spread. Most men would understand. See, I ain't got no cash, but can we make a trade? I can work it off until the bills paid. See, there is plenty bush to cut and couple rock to move, and to get that piece of land, there's nothing I won't do to get piece of real estate. Girl, it would mean a lot. Oh! There's something I can do with the scene. So much. Hard work. I would not hesitate. Work it. Now wouldn't it be great to get piece of that real estate? Oh no! Man, to say real estate agents, line up. We coming by it. We want it. We need it. With my Spit Point boys, them going man. Spit Point boys, give it to me. Let's go. Yes. Ah, yeah, man. Check this out. Now in Nassau, land price is high. How can I afford that? I barely getting by. I became she surveyor. I laid down the stake. She made me she contractor. I dig up she place. She showed me her land. She showed me she deeds. She tell me what she wanted, gave she what she need. Oh yes, I got straight. Didn't spend a cent. It's good when you got your own land, cause I tired paying rent. Oh, yes man. See it with me alone. There's so much in do with that scene. That scene, little brother, you got there. That little piece, man, and not the big one. No, not that. I don't need them whole ankles. Give me the little piece. Listen here. Come on, watch this. Yes. You get piece of real estate. Now it will be. Oh no. There's so much. Boy, look here. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, what's the cost, man? I ain't hesitate. Yes, man! You get piece of real estate. Now it will mean a lot. There's so much I can do. So much I can do. I can put up a building. I can sell my wares, man. I can sell all kinds of things on that, man. Listen here, man. Woo! That's true, boy. Look here. The Bahamas got lovely properties, man, all over the place. You ain't gotta rent no more. Rent done. No more rent. Got my own things now, boys. What you think them investors come here for? They love our land, right? They come here for beachfront property. Beachfront. I didn't want something like little Harbor Island. Something I want to do, babe. Something like Harbor Island.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Howard Grant, and we're here with the foundation, being able to chop down a great deal of things. You heard my rant at the top of the hour. I'm just frustrated with politics in this country as it relates to people being disingenuous. And I mean, people is one thing, but, you know, entire organization, I think it's wild. So we continue to be able to encourage the organizations, both the FNM more specifically and the PLP, to be reminded about the direction that we're called to move in this country, to be able to empower and support our people. That's what it's really about. I'm grateful to be here with you today, guys, and being able to talk about these things. I want to be able to introduce you to someone who I've known for a very long time. The last time I sat in formality at ZNS, he sat with me. He sat with me, and given the politically rich tension that exists in this country, there was a transition because of not because of anything that we said. It's simply because of affiliation. And I want to thank him and the PLP organization for being able to recognize that we got to pull back against that for what's happening on the top of the hill at ZNS. But he's here with me, and he has really been astute and committed to national growth and development, always being able to put himself to the forefront and really be a thinker for the country. getting us out of economic depression, finding ourselves in a better position. He's doing a wonderful job at that. And when he's not, we can tell him, right? But he's here with us today, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Senator Michael Halkitis.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Grant. It's wonderful to be here with you.
Absolutely.
I know.
I see you got your pink on too.
Yes. At one time, you were also my constituent.
I was. He good at this, He good at this.
Right.
He forget.
At one time, you were also my constituent. But I'm very happy to be here, and I wanted to say I'm so pleased to see you do this transition.
Yeah.
From the what we'll call the traditional media, i.e. on the radio, now to this format, where you're continuing your show and sharing your talent with the Bahamian people. With this, I'm guessing now YouTube is not so much new, but a continually emerging format, and I just want to congratulate you for that pivot. And to encourage you, and to say in the words of the immortal Bob Marley, when one door is closed, another is open.
Absolutely.
And so this one, I believe, will lead to even bigger and better things. So congratulations, and thank you very much for having me here today.
Well,
I missed the rant, so I'm coming in post-rant.
I was just talking about, I just was talking about how Michael Pintar took on this kind of position that indicated that the Prime Minister was pressured. Was pressured to go out there, but the Prime Minister walk outside with Krimsley in one hand and Belinda in the next hand, raising it and tell the people we got you straight before Christmas.
Yes.
However, Michael ain't tell us nothing, but he had to go to North Abaco when the people in North Abaco say we don't want bootle. Anyway, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
That's a little rant I had.
Yeah. Okay.
We got to be honest about these things.
Yeah.
And talk about these things, right? But I want to talk to you about this, man. I'm economic affairs. He's the Minister of Economic Affairs, and being able to talk to us about what's happening in the country. A lot of persons being able to hinge this sort of an idea of what's going to happen in 2026 on the economy, right? And I don't know who says it, but there's a quote that says, "It's the economy, stupid." And a lot of persons being able to take this sort of an idea that the next dispensation of leadership in this country would have to do with the economy. The decisions that are being made in this country has to do with the economy. And I am not necessarily one that believes that, because if I'm going to be honest with you, historically, it has been sort of a feeling towards one administration or another, as opposed to being able to say a specific issue, right? So talk to me about that.
I think Howard, it goes hand in hand, because it's I think it was Bill Clinton who said it was the economy
Stupid, yeah.
Is the economy stupid? I'm not sure, but if the economy is good, then people have opportunities, people have jobs, people are working, they have money in their pocket, they feel good, and so that affects their dispensation towards a political party, particularly the government that's in power. And I believe that what we are seeing from the Bahamian people is a desire, an inclination that now we want to move to that next step economically, and that is of ownership of the economy. As you rightly stated, our job has been, coming out of the pandemic, to put the economy and the finances of the country on a more secure footing, and then everything else flows from that. Some people say, when we talk about the politics of it, that perhaps you should say what you mean, tell them what you met in place, and there's always a balance in doing that, because as government, as particularly when you're working in the Ministry of Finance and being able to assist the Prime Minister there, and in my role as Minister of Economic Affairs, your role is to promote a sense of confidence, because the things that you say are being consumed by the Bahamian public, they're being consumed by international investors, being consumed by bankers. And so, suffice it to say, we've come a long way. We still have a ways to go. I think we've done, I would endorse the words of the IMF in speaking about the recovery being a remarkable one. Having been able to right the finances without things like job cuts or spending cuts or what they call austerity measures, but being able to promote growth in the economy. So we're at the point now where we can point to positive growth in the economy this year, and we project it for next year, and an improvement in the finances where we see we don't have to be borrowing annually hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just to to support the budget. And so now, having said that, the next step now is to promote ownership in the economy, because I truly think that that's the next step, and that's what the Bahamian people are looking for. And so that's what I see going into 2026.
Let's talk about that for a little 2 seconds. Promotion of ownership. How does that look? Let's take it from 3 tiers in this country, right? First tier, grassroots, working class. Second tier, middle class, transitioning. Third tier, upper class. How does that ownership look for them?
Well, when we talk about ownership, we're talking about business. And so, firstly, again, I go back to you have to have a stable environment and economy that's growing, the way you don't see huge gyrations, so that people can have confidence. Okay, if I have money in the bank, I'm going to take it out and put it into a business. I'm going to go to the bank and borrow money to go into business. So it begins again with promoting a stable, growing economy. The second part of it, I believe, is there's opportunities become available. If the economy is growing, there's need for services, there's need for goods. People decide, I want to go into business. The other part of it is ensuring that your government agencies or agencies that the government supports are customer friendly, accessible, relevant to the times. So I'm talking about your SBDC, your Small Business Development Center, your Bahamas Development Bank, your Entrepreneurial Fund, etc., and make sure that they can work with, because their resources will be limited, they can work with the the private sector banks in mobilizing capital. Now that has been a traditional difficulty, because we've been talking about for years and years about the amount of excess liquidity in the banking system that needs to be mobilized. And then even if we look beyond that, our economy that is tourism based, very, very low sort of appetite for banks to lend for people to go into the tourism sector. So how do we unlock that sort of credit? We have recently been able to, in partnership with the Afri-Exim Bank, have the Bahamas Development Bank recapitalized. So they have funds that are available for on lending. We have the Tourism Development Corporation. We put in a $2 levy on anybody traveling in and out of the Bahamas that goes into the Tourism Development Corporation, whose mission is to support, I think the language is improvement in the tourism product, and they have taken the initiative to support a lot of small businesses in the tourism sector. And we have a SPDC.
Potentially that could be about $22 million a year if we get
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. And so they target that, and they have been targeting what they call incubators for small business, targeted towards business. So these are steps. Of course, we have to be able to ensure that they're very responsive, and we don't have to go through too many hoops. So the process is easy, and it's never going to be enough, but we do the best we can. And so that's the way you sort of, the government lends its support to that. And I go back to the environment in the country. So, for example, we see coming out of COVID-19, you have tourism come roaring back, and then the appetite of the visitors change. So they want more what they call authentic experience. So they want to go and perhaps stay in an Airbnb. They want to go in family and go to a smaller resort. That created a lot of opportunities for Bahamians then to become, in effect, owners.
Simultaneously, it created opportunity for the government, the tax people.
Well, which we have not done. Which we have not done. Which we have not done.
Okay,
we made a conscious decision that we would not do it. Now we're looking at, for example, if you have 10 or 20 units, that's different from someone who put a unit on the side of their house or on the side of their apartment and rent that. Okay. But we look at that as a way to it's really ownership. And we are asking individuals to register And, people say, well, why the government want to know? Because they want to tax me. But we also, when we talk about protecting the product, you have to make sure that, things are up to standard. And so if someone wants to, you don't want to damage the product by having an individual feel that they wanted to rent something of a particular standard and it wasn't. So I think that's going to be the sentiment going forward, ownership. And again, if I were to go back to COVID-19, coming out of that, you have a lot of people who did what they call a side hustle because their job closed down during COVID.
That's exactly what they call it, a side hustle.
Right. And then
supplementary income. Okay.
Supplementary income. And then, decided that, hey, listen, this could be more.
Yeah.
I can actually do this. I don't have to go back to 9 to 5 and deal with a boss or supervisor or
We saw a
whatever.
lot of that.
So a lot of that, and it continues. And so, when we talk about ownership again, it's that change in mindset that, okay, maybe a 9 to 5 for 30 years and a pension and a gold pen or whatever is not for me. I want to have more life balance.
My God, they reduce it from watch to pen.
Well, watch, gold
You used
watch.
to get a watch one time.
Yeah, gold
You get
watch.
a pen if you're lucky, right?
Yeah.
No, but this is an amazing thing that you're being able to say that, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe that, and I'd like you to speak to the fact that whether or not you believe that the PLP has come out of that turbulent cloud. I know that coming into 2021-22, that the entire administration would have been taking flack, not necessarily because of anything that you've done, but because of what you would have met in place and the expectations of the Bahamian
Yeah.
people. How have you fared as an administration after those initial 2 years?
Yeah, it was, and like I said, Howard, the initial 2 years were kind of stressful. All right.
Might have been 1 or 2 years.
I remember we came in September 2021. And I remember, I had been in the Ministry of Finance in previous administrations. And I remember one particular example is the IMF World Bank holds their annual meeting. As a matter of fact, I'm heading to it next week, where you meet with the IMF and the World Bank. All the financial institutions are there, Commonwealth finance ministers. There's a whole slew of meetings that you talk finance and the way forward. They also have a meeting in the spring, which is in March, April every year. And I remember traditionally we never went to the spring meeting because we just went to the annual meeting. But when we got in 2021, the sentiment and the feeling towards the Bahamas internationally and even locally amongst the financial institutions was so negative that we decided, listen, we have to do something. We have to go to this meeting, and we have to.
Hold on.
We have to let. No, I'm being serious. We have to let. No, because let me tell you why. Because
We
had
just came out
Dorian.
of COVID. We were still in the middle of COVID.
Exactly. So we had Dorian, and then we had COVID. So internationally, observers, financial institutions looking in, were of the opinion that the Bahamas was ready to go over the cliff. You just had this devastating hurricane, the most powerful
I just read the
ever.
article. I just read the article that stated that there was a potential downgrade, but no one wanted to say anything because the election was next week.
Yeah, and I think the downgrade came the night of the election.
I remember
right?
this.
Either
I
the
remember
night
this.
of the election or the day after. Because so that was something to greet you. You just wanted an election, you're downgraded. So I say that to say, and then again, as I said, at the time, you can't, as an administration, as a Ministry of Finance, you have to recognize what's happening, but you also have to exude positivity, confidence that we got this, that we're going to set a plan, and we're going to move forward. So the point I was making was that we never went to the annual meetings, but there was so much negativity. Are we going over the cliff?
spring meeting.
We said, let's go to the spring meeting, and we started this engagement. So we were able to go, and I remember sitting across from those bankers, and you're telling them, listen, we're recovering, we're opening, and they're looking at you like you. Right?
You all gotta have these conversations,
And you're
because
looking
the
at
country
us like
saying
you're
all you want to do is travel.
And so they're looking at you like you're nuts. And they said, why don't you go in an IMF program? And we said, no, we've never been in a program. We've always honored our obligations, and we intend to do that. We're going to grow the economy and get out of it. And I remember we enunciated a 4-point plan, going to grow the economy, improve revenue administration, meaning collect the taxes that are on the books from especially the big taxpayers, control expenditure, and find new sources of revenue. And we said if each one of those adding some positivity together, they will help us to get out of the sort of financial bind that we were in. I remember, and so and the idea is it wouldn't happen right away. So you were quite correct. In the early days, when we didn't eliminate the deficit right away, there was some, negativity, and so, but we had to deal with that, and we had to reassure people that this will be a multi-year process, and over the years, if we stick with it, we will see positive results. And happily, we're a tourism economy. One of the fastest rebounding industries was tourism after the pandemic, and even in the Caribbean, we rebounded pretty fast. But dealing with those banks in the early days, it was something else.
You were able to level out some things because we know that you would, despite the fact that you would have come in, you would have reduced VAT to 10%, you would have made all these determinations trying to be able to appease an internal aspect. I know that it must have been difficult with everyone breathing down your back from an international standpoint.
Oh yeah,
right?
I remember. I'll make this final point on financing. The government has to be financed. Here you're opening the economy, but you have all these bills that you have to pay. For example, you have to pay back national insurance, in excess of $100 million that they had advanced to the public during the shutdown in terms of unemployment benefits, etc. And so what we had to do, and then on the international market, the attitude was that, the Bahamas being heavily dependent on tourism, they're in a mess. If we lend them money, it's going to have to be at a, very high interest rate. And so we decided that we're not going to the international bond market. We will take advantage of our relationships with the IDB, with the Caribbean Development Bank, so that we can access what they call concessional financing. They lend you money at a low rate. And I remember, we were doing a negotiation, and they were taking a little long, so I had to make an intervention to the president of one of the banks, and I remember, and we got it done, and I remember going to a meeting subsequent to that, about a month later, and I go into the meeting, and I said, "Hi, I'm Michael Halkitis from the Bahamas." Said, "Yeah, we know who you are."
We sick and tired of hearing from you.
I said, "Oh, okay." But no, in the early days, you had to convince people that we were resilient and that we could recover, and not many people believed it.
Did that weigh on your relationship? Because everything that we're talking about now is from an external standpoint, the responsibilities that the government has to its lenders, its borrowers, so forth and so on, from an international standpoint. So that's external. Did it weigh on your relationships internal? Or did you believe as an organization that you had enough time to do some of the things internally in preparation for the next election?
People's timetables are short. And so, like you said, there's expectation, and there's need to deliver things right away. I think one of the positive things we were able to do was to sign the industrial agreements with the public sector unions. We signed a lot of those, so that gave them some security and some additional benefits. We were able to raise the minimum wage. That brought some relief to people. I remember when we put in some temporary expansion of things that were under price control. Took some blows for that, but we thought it was, people needed that immediate relief, and then certain other interventions. And so, yes, there's an expectation of immediate results, but I think we're able to do some things in the interim to sort of bring some relief as we sort of, our economy began to accelerate, and you see, the growth and et cetera. Now, we did see early in the first quarter a blip up in the unemployment rate. We expect to see an improvement in that as we go through this year, as more figures come out. And we always say, Prime Minister always says, there's a lot of work left to be done. We're not done. There's no patting on the back or resting on laurels. But I think we're in a much better position now to go to that next step where the economy is demonstrating, a few years of growth back to back, more opportunities available. There's a big emphasis in this budget on things like upskilling, expansion of training, which came in the last unemployment report. We saw some mention of skills mismatch and the need to
The
train
union
people.
would have taken that the kind of position also, saying that I can't remember who. I know I would have read it, indicating that there are persons that are sent to the job market that are just ill prepared.
Yeah, and I
Just
think
ill prepared.
Yeah, and I think too this is a discussion. And I remember, I think it was Bill Gates who made the statement that for when you look at the United States, they built an education system like in the 50s, coming out of World War II, with the big high schools and the big campuses and stuff that was appropriate for a 1950s, 1960s,
time.
maybe a 1970s economy. Now, different skills are required in the workplace, and so how do we adapt our education system, our training, to satisfy what is required in the workplace? Should someone go into the workplace?
It's a 20-year conversation. This is a 25-year conversation.
I was about to say it's a 25-year conversation because I recall about 25 years ago, I think the Chamber of Commerce did a study, or they collaborated in a study that showed the very same thing, that there's this mismatch between what employers want on the job and how ready individuals are coming out. And so as a response, we have the National Training Agency that was formed because what we heard was that employers were looking for employees with what they call soft skills.
Yeah.
Subsequent to that, now we have the National Apprenticeship Program that is being rolled out because, again, I guess weighing in or taking from some of the European models where you have individuals go into these apprenticeships and they study for a few years and then go into the place. And now we are moving, again, the Polytechnic Institute on Wolf Road, that is moving towards completion. I've seen some recent pictures, so that's moving towards completion. Again, the idea is giving individuals the opportunity to gain these skills in high school. Not as a punishment, like going into a low stream, but identifying that,
But the only way
technical
you could make,
work and that sort of work is well compensated.
the only way you can make modifications to that, and there wouldn't be a stigma associated with maybe you in the low set or you in whatever the case may
The
be,
low
is
stream.
by being able to shift the curriculum.
Yeah.
You got to be able to empower and identify aspects of the curriculum itself and the way that you approach these things. We had this conversation. Belinda was with us the other day on Wednesday, and she started to talk about the importance of being able to, with this new history book that's being able to be placed in classes, why is it still a part of the elective? It should be a part of the curriculum. It should be these particular things. So, so to shift that and to be able to move in that direction, to pull away from the 1950s model that we have duplicated in our country, we need to be able to identify how do we do these particular things. And I think sort of a youthful concept as to what the future needs to be, needs to be incorporated.
I think so as well, and I think there was at some point some sort of education working group or task force. I think what needs to happen is, you need to bring all the players. I mean, this may sound cliche, but you need to bring all the stakeholders around the table. Talking about the government, the union, the teachers, even parent representative, employer representatives, so that unfortunately, Howard, a lot of times, if something is being advanced, let's say from the political directorate, then sometimes there's there might be some resistance that no reason for it. And so I think it's a matter of getting all the stakeholders around the table and say, listen, okay, here's our curriculum now. Here's the reality of 2025 and going forward in the workplace and in the business place. And so these are the changes that we need to do. Do we need to go pull back and focus more on literacy and numeracy? All right. And then bring the other stuff in. I don't know. But I think starting point for all of this is bring everybody around the table. Because you're right, it's been a 25-year conversation.
It's a 25-year
and we're still
conversation.
talking. Yeah.
Has the obstacle, has the sort of a pushback, has the reluctance of progressive, transparent dialogue for national growth, has the obstacle been the inability for, and I shouldn't use the word inability, the lack of payment for back pay that may not have existed with your administration, but back pay for public servants and whatnot. Most recently, we would have seen a tremendous amount of public servants being able to be in Rawson Square and being able to scream out, give us pay. And this wasn't necessarily because they hadn't been paid for some time. There is a mindset in our country that exists that says, well, if the government owe you, you can get paid. May not get it right now, you can get paid, right?
Yeah.
So this is a mindset that exists there. However, there came a point with the public service that middle management of sort was being able to be compensated, and so the lower ranking persons are saying, "What about us?
Yeah,
we're the laborers."
And they of course, they have the right to ask that question, and they had the right, and they demonstrated it to go and assemble and speak directly to the political directorate. I'll say on this particular issue that we're talking about, it does not have to do with back pay or any sort of payment that is owed. What the government did, when I say payment that is owed, that let's say, back pay or benefits that have accumulated in the past and are outstanding. What happened was the government, people always say everything going up except the salary, right? Apologies to my English teachers. But that's what the payments, everything going up except the pay, right?
Okay, go ahead.
And so what we decided to do is the government did a salary review, a general salary review, to look at the levels of pay in the public service. Because what has also been happening is we have people who are leaving the public sector and going into the private sector because of issues of pay. We had a meeting with a particular department on Tuesday afternoon, and one lady said, when I joined the service, I left the private sector to come work for the government because of the higher pay and the benefits. And she says, now it's reversed. The private sector is paying more. And so what the government did was we looked at it and said, listen, we're having difficulty retaining people. For example, you hire young accountants into the Treasury Department. They come and they get some training for a couple of years, and then they're gone.
Gone.
Because they can be better compensated in the private sector. You have the same issue with the Department of Inland Revenue. All of the regulators, and so we looked at it. The Prime Minister decided, okay, what we're going to do is a general review of salaries, and we're going to adjust the salaries upward. Now there has been some ire because the managers or the middle managers were paid first, but that was simply because you're dealing with a smaller number of individuals, and you're dealing with thousands.
Not
now.
Importance.
Yeah.
Not
importance. Not taking care of.
It's just a smaller number of
just
individuals.
a smaller
It's
number of
easier for to
individuals.
deal with this. Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of our systems are still manual, and so you want to, in an effort to make sure that you didn't leave out anybody, got the calculations right, everybody's, and get what they're entitled to. Because I said to, a worker stopped me the other day, said, man, what happened? I says, well, if it was a case of us giving everybody a lump sum of $1,000 or $1,200, that's easy. You just put the $1,000. But when you're talking about giving a percentage increase based on your pay, then we have to do everybody.
You got to do calculations. You got to take your time.
Make sure what they call salary progression.
Yeah, because I know some people
Yeah.
who can tell you, hold on, but hey, look here.
Exactly.
This ain't the percentage.
Exactly.
This ain't proper.
Exactly. And so what we said was, okay, bear with us. It's going to be effective September. It gets paid in December, so you'll get September, October, November, December.
So prior to this gathering, the government was working on this.
Yeah, we were working on it. We had issued a statement saying, that we had to, we know that, they were expecting it in September. Apologies, it's going to be paid in December. Now, maybe we could have said something earlier, so we regret any sort of breakdown in communication. But the intention was always that it would be effective September. Nobody will be disadvantaged, and so we'll go from there. But the idea at the very beginning was cost of living is high, cost of living is rising.
So the Prime Minister was right. He surmised it by being able to say this was a negotiated position.
No.
This is something that I decided that we should do.
Right, exactly. That we should look based on rising cost of living, the growing gap between what people earn in the private sector and what we pay our public servants. And so, let's do a review. Let's do a general increase in an effort to bring relief to people, close that gap with the private sector.
This is good conversation, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this very, 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 very quick commercial break. When we get back, I want to be able to talk a little bit more about some politics. All right? I want to talk about Grand Bahama. I want to talk about the Grand Lucayan and see if we can get that. Talk about the airport, and then we can talk a little bit about St. Barnabas and Golden Isles.
Yes.
It's going to be right back, guys. Right after this.
Good evening, members, public service, and members of the Bahamas Public Services Union. It is with a profound sense of sadness that we, the officers and members of the Bahamas Public Services Union, do mourn the sudden passing of our beloved Secretary General, Mr. O'Neill Thurston. Mr. Thurston, a giant of a man, steadfast, dedicated, and deeply committed to the cause of workers and the advancement of our youth, recently had experienced personal challenges. During the course of recent months, he bravely fought personal medical battles, but his strength and resilience never wavered in this particular regard and his service to others. His passing is a tremendous loss to the Union and to the wider public service, and to all who have the privilege of knowing him. We extend our deepest condolences to his family, loved ones, and colleagues during this time of sorrow. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and may his legacy of service and sacrifice continue to inspire us all. We thank you for sharing in this moment and hour of bereavement with us. To God be the glory. Great things He has done.
Every weekend, you're drunk again. All kaboom-ka up again. Watch it out. Coming through with my broom. Watch it, Staggerly. Play it, Ira. The morning after, the night before, he feeling break up, he feeling sore. He say, if I get over this hangover, man, I'll never drink no more. But come next weekend, you can bet he'll be at the bar, getting wet, singing. You're drunk again, you're drunk again. You're drunk again, you're drunk again. Every weekend, you're drunk again. All kaboom-ka-lup again. You're drunk again. Look at you.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Spa Week has been extended, guys, until October 12th, October 13th. He's actually sent it to me. Spa Week with my guy Vance. He's down there, Mackenzie, over at Baja Retreat and Spa. He has some great stuff. You know, I always take a time to be able to do that. I want to thank Baja Retreat and Spa for being able to follow us and what we're doing in this particular space. And we want to be able to say Spa Week 2025 has been extended all until next week, Monday. You know, it's a holiday, and they're going to be able to do this. The offers extended for the gift certificate and retail products only. All right, so the Purchase of Spa Week gift certificate online at www.bajaretreat.com, www.bajaretreat.com, or you can give a call at 323-6711 or hit them up on the WhatsApp 544-1855. East Bay Street, opposite Scotiabank. You know exactly where it is. Baja Retreat and Spa, guys. Enjoy yourself and be able to do that. Guys, we're sitting here and having a good conversation with none other than Senator the Honorable Michael Alcides, Minister for Economic Affairs, being able to talk to us about what's happening and sort of the turnaround that this government has taken in the 2 years after they would have been able to take office. This was not easy for them. We tried to be able to give them the quote-unquote honeymoon period. The expectation kind of drilled in our brain is the first 100 days in office, and that's something that came out of the United States of America. But these are sometimes legacy issues that take more time, sometimes issues that are entrenched in the particular position. And he would have just told us a story about this sort of a concept and idea that what we did before, sort of in a casual space, we had to make modifications and amplify our approach to be able to deal with these issues. There were some issues that they were dealing with externally. And so, I don't know. I mean, I guess you all got to be able to deal with your PR.
Yeah.
You got to deal with your PR.
Yeah, you do.
Because if you were saying to me, we had to go away more to be able to deal with these things because people that looked at us in a particular manner, then it says to me, there's some justification for these things, to this flight.
Let me tell you, we had the issue of the blacklisting, right? And there was a meeting in Paris. And so we're sitting down on, I think, Friday. The AG, Prime Minister, myself, and a few other ministers. The Prime Minister says, Ryan, you and Mike go to the meeting, right? So we said, okay. We left Sunday. We missed the flight. I know the American Airlines was late, so we missed the connection. So we had to stay in Miami. Got up 5 o'clock in the morning, fly to New York. Got up, then fly to straight to Paris. Get there at 7 o'clock in the morning. Go to the meeting for 12 o'clock. Come out of the meeting at 4. Get something to eat and back on the plane the next day. But if you hear that, right, people will say, "Oh, you've been to Paris," right?
Oh, you was only having scones
Right.
and
So-
you was having a good time.
So that is some of the things, you know, and so we had to go there and we had to advocate and we had to tell them, listen, you know, here's, you know, we're committed to, you know, information sharing and exchange of information. We reject this blacklist. As a matter of fact, we don't think you should be dealing with it. But you know, we ended up off, and now we're a part of that movement to have the United Nations adjudicate on tax matters. But listen, Howard, I don't want any of that to sound anything like a complaint. It's been, I mean, a privilege to work, you know, in this position. You
It
know,
don't sound like a complaint.
no,
It sounds like actual work.
yeah, it's work. It's work.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
a
but
lot of
it's- but
people
it's
may
a
think that
privilege.
you're on vacation because, you know, one or two pictures where you're having lunch together, and
Yeah.
people assume that you ain't got nothing to do, and this is a real thing that you're doing.
Oh,
you
yeah,
got to
really,
run a
yeah.
country.
And I was explaining to you with that one, you know, I could give you all sorts of, you know, stories about, you know, hiccups in travel. But like I said, it's a privilege to be able to, you know, represent the Bahamas in all of these different forums, to be able to put our position and, you know, get some results. And so, you know, we have to go and, like, we had to, you know, meet with rating agencies, meet with banks, change opinions, even locally, not to leave out the local financial institutions. We began a quarterly update where we would get them, you know, it's a virtual update. We get them on the phone and we talk to them about how the government finances are performing, what we anticipate going forward, how they can help and what they can look forward to. And that, again, has helped, you know, create a feeling within the local financial services industry of comfort that the government is sharing information with them. So, Yeah, and you're quite right. There's no honeymoon in politics. You got to get
No.
down to work right away. But you
People
know,
give you first 100 years because that's the mindset
yeah.
that they drill into our heads, or the conditioning that they drill into our heads. But after that, they start
yeah.
to say,
And-
"But you
and
ain't doing this.
yeah.
You're traveling all over the place.
Right.
You're getting the COP26.
Yeah.
You get doing this.
Yeah.
You do, and so they actually start to bombard you and beat you down in your administration, whilst we don't necessarily know what's
Yeah.
going on behind the scenes.
And as well with that as well, again, you know, it's the democracy that we cherish. And so when people say that, then we look and we say, okay, we have to make sure that we're getting value for money, that delegations are lean and mean,
Yeah.
and you know, there's work to be done. So all of that is, you know, it's politics. And when you enter the public sphere,
You got to deal with that.
you got to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, let's take a little trip down to Grand Bahama. I want to
Yes.
talk about it more specifically. You know, that's my home.
Yes.
Near and dear to my heart. And more specifically, the hotel, Grand Lucayan, is where I sort of cut my teeth as it relates to the coming of age and understanding my strength.
You worked at the hotel?
I worked at the hotel.
Okay.
As I start all this customer service training and
Oh,
all these
yeah.
things like that, to understand where it was, this is where it really started for me. Working there at the Grand Lucayan, well, it was the Al Lucaya at the time. We understand that this was a special resort, and it was almost, I think, about 1,600 employees that were part of the three establishment: Lighthouse Point, Breakers Key, and the Reef Village. And so it was a beautiful space to be able to work in. It was something that was glamorous to the point where everyone in Grand Bahama wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And it was right on the tail end of the Magic City, where the magic still existed in this place. We still had Edward St. George. We still had Jack Haywood. We still had sort of the spirit of what was happening after Francis and Jean. There's a lot of things that actually took a nosedive.
Yeah.
Right? We saw sort of a migration out of Grand Bahama, persons moving to Nassau, persons moving to Bimini, other spaces to be able to find themselves in the position and waiting for the former administration, waiting for the one before that to make a decision of what you're going to do with the Grand Lucayan. This administration has come to the forefront and said that we found a buyer. We know that you were working feverishly at the forefront
Yeah.
to be able to find a buyer. The Prime Minister comes and says, we should be able to get it done by this time. Then he comes back and says, we hope to get it done by this time. Then he comes back and says, we're looking to get it done by this time. And then finally, we would have gotten the Concord Group, I think that's Concord Wilshire, to be able to put $827 million down to say that we're going to purchase this, we're going to develop it, and so they broke ground for it. Now, based upon information that comes to the forefront, I'll let you verify that. They're saying to us that funds won't be able to come to the table just yet until the airport is done. Talk to me about this.
I heard that discussion in the public domain, but I should say that I think even though they rely on each other, because when you develop the hotel, you need to have airlift.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
it's a mutually beneficial relationship that will be there. Listen, there was an agreement for sale of the hotel with Concord Wilshire. There's a period in there where you work out all of the fine details in terms of the heads of agreement and what concessions are given. And you'll understand that, investors want every single concession, and the government wants to give, they don't want to give everything. They want something that's reasonable, something that, the investor can, they invest their money, they'll make a profit. But again, there's something that comes back to the Bahamian people. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're tied to a 20-year deal that you are not completely happy with. And so during this interim period, there's been some back and forth on the level of the concessions. And as you know, we are governed by what we call most favored nation status. So, places like Bahama and Atlantis, you're not supposed to give anybody any more beneficial concessions than you give them, or else you have to come back and give it to them. So there's been some back and forth. I can say I see some light at the end of the tunnel. I think we have, basically ironed out all of those differences, so we can start seeing the, final closure and the beginning of things like the demolition and then, start to move to the redevelopment. I think it's a similar thing. I can't speak in too much detail to the airport, but I think, again, several players at the table. I think, some got up from the table and came back, and so I think now we're at a position where shortly we can announce, okay, here's what's gonna happen. But I think in the coming weeks and months, we'll see some positive momentum.
Before the end of this year.
I think so.
Before the end. Okay, so
think
Grand
so.
Bahamian people are. I'm watching them. They're talking about Celebration Key. They're talking
Yeah.
about this sort of concept and idea where a lot of the entities and the attractions that used to go to Lukaya or used to be able to tap into exploration and other adventures and so forth and so on are now concentrated in the Celebration Key. And so they want to know whether or not there's anything, on the drawing board to be able to bring back this attraction, and it goes right back to the hotel.
But I was about to say, when you have it, then you'll have more, bodies there. Two, I think there's the surrounding, we call it the village. What do you call it? Marketplace.
Yeah,
The
marketplace.
marketplace, and then the other attractions. And so, we're very eager, to get that going.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Grand Bahama a few years ago, speaking to a real estate person, and she was speaking about how the Grand Bahamian people are so resilient, and they have been waiting for this resurgence that keeps coming, and we're hopeful that
Both
I'm
resilient
confident
and patient.
and patient, and that we get that done, all squared away. But I can say, we had to.
You think
settle
that this will
on-
be
on
the
details.
administration to be able to finally put this to bed?
I think so. I definitely think
Listen,
so.
jobs. Well, if it's the economy, stupid, then jobs is one of the things that a lot of persons are going to definitely be able to look at.
Yeah.
And we know that if you're going to get into a little bit of politics right now, what I understand that there's even one more seat. Yeah, want to talk to me
Really?
about this? You say, really, Howard? You know, and I don't know, right?
Well,
I understand that there's some things, but I'm just saying to be able to capture the attention of the people of Grand Bahama, to be able to the proverbial antennas of all those Grand Bahamians that are peppered throughout the country, to look back and say, okay, it's time to go back home. It has to be
Exactly.
something. It has to be something significant, something that we can all sink our teeth into. And I think occupation has to be the forerunner.
Yeah.
I won't go home bad. I got nothing but property home.
Yeah, occupation, and not only occupation, but a career opportunity, good paying benefits, etc., where you can say, okay, I'm going back home, take my family or start a family. And so I think all that is in the, the contemplation of the Prime Minister. Listen, the place is big,
Yeah.
well laid out. Once we get some activity there, substantial activity, people who have been displaced would want to go back, or what you'll call them, some driftwood from Nassau might want to.
No, Grand people don't say driftwood.
Oh, they don't say driftwood.
Bimini people
Oh,
say.
people say
Bimini
driftwood.
people say
Okay.
driftwood.
Okay.
Grand people, they don't bother, right?
All right.
No, but there's a lot of things that we haven't gotten into. Last thing I want to do is
I'll
get
be
into-
back.
No, you have to be back.
If you have
I
me.
love that, right? But we haven't spoken about some other things that's actually afoot from an economic standpoint in the
Yeah.
country. I know persons want to be able to hear more about the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
Yeah.
I know they want to be able to hear about other issues and entities and maybe even Abaco and
Yeah.
other things are happening over in that particular space. And so we have to talk about that. But I got to take this time, these last 2 seconds,
All right.
to talk to you about St. Barnabas. Now, the last time that we were speaking,
Yeah.
this years ago now, not
Yeah.
last time, years ago when we had a sort of an in-depth conversation, you was considering, you say, how would I got to ask my wife? All us married, we know, we got to ask our wife, baby, I could do this?
Yeah.
Please? Yeah, so all of us have to ask our wives. You say, how would I got to talk to my wife about it? But this is something that is in my heart. I say, Mike, it's something that you got to do. And you found yourself in this position and being able to serve and really give yourself for the St. Barnabas seat, right? I thought it was an excellent thing. And I thought that you were on the cusp of victory. I guess the wave knocked you out the first time,
Yeah.
right? So talk to me about this. You nestled yourself in there, and I like to say this about you. Shannon Dawn presented a particular model in that constituency. And that model is truly empowering the people in that constituency. Many times we see politicians come into various constituencies and bring their people with them. Bring their people from elsewhere. Bring their people from the political organization. But what he did was empower the people in the constituency. I'm listening to people in St. Barnabas right now, and they say, Mike is the man. You've empowered those people.
Yeah.
You've created opportunity. You've built, or you're building a clinic in the space for accessibility. You're doing a great deal. Talk to me about your chances for victory.
Yeah, well, I think my chances of victory are very good. Of course, you have to continue your engagement with the people and your responsiveness to the people. Some people might ask how I end up there, and I'll do it quickly. I know we're coming up against the time. We remember I was in Golden Isles. Then our late brother Vaughn Miller came over and joined the PLP. So at that time, then he became the sitting PLP member of Parliament. And so I, spoke with the leader, and the leader says, "Well, look at these that are vacant." And I grew up in the Grove, in Coconut Grove, and I said, "Well, I'll go there." And he says, "Well, there was a juggernaut there, right? I mean, to be honest, Mr. Cartwright was a very popular member of Parliament at the time, but I decided I want to go and make an impact, having grown up in that community, really, knowing some of the challenges, and." We came up a bit short in the election, but I decided
A bit short.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
yeah, but I decided, listen, I'm not going to pack up and go and just leave, because
glad
it
you
would
didn't, by the way.
it would be a betrayal to people if you're saying to them, I want to serve you, and as soon as you don't win, you pack up and go. So,
Listen, we got to have this conversation.
yeah, so
Okay, good.
so we maintained our presence. Thankfully, we were in a position. We were blessed to be in a position where we can have some impact and have a voice. And so, yes, one of my biggest things was to say, I said to Dr.
And you
Davel.
stayed?
Yeah, I stayed. I said to Dr. Davel, now I hear you talking about Palmetto Point Clinic. I hear you talking about Mangrove Key. I hear you talking about New Hospital, but we got to have that in the Grove. And myself and Glennis, Hannah Martin. And so we eventually got it. It's underway. And so we expect to see it really start to pop out of the ground in the coming weeks. So that's going to be a fantastic achievement that is deserved by the people. The people deserve it. They deserve of that community. They deserve the highest quality that we can give them. And I just I continue to just, be in the community, try to impact this challenge we have with housing in terms of both access to housing, to affordable housing, as well as housing conditions. There's a lot of work we need to do with young people in terms of helping to empower them, making sure they're in school, they get an education, they have the opportunity to have positive interactions outside of school hours. And the elderly, making sure that they're not forgotten, and we can visit and have them have access to the services and the comfort that they deserve in their senior years. And so we feel good. We've been on the ground for a while, and so
For years.
years, yeah.
You've really been working the ground.
Yeah, and so
You haven't relented. I saw that you were doing giveaways. You have fed the community. You have empowered those persons and provided them opportunities. I'm telling you, the language of persons and what they're saying on their tongue is Mike. And I don't know whether or not that is being able to light a fire.
Yeah. Well, I can say, Howard, it's a pleasure for me to be able to assist. Tomorrow we'll be in the Big Pond and Black Village area doing a cleanup, providing dumpsters for people who might have some bulk stuff that they need to get rid of. We'll do that tomorrow. But this is a pleasure for me to be able to do. Like I said, I'm from that community, so I know what it is. All right, and I say that there's a lot of distance of time between then and now, but I've never forgotten, and I know what it is to be challenged on a day-to-day basis, and so we want to be there to be able to give that helping hand, but more importantly, to empower. So where we can find employment, in any way, where we can find some way for people, whether it's directing people to improve the level of training that they have, so that they can get something better than a minimum wage job. Those are the things we want to do, and then we're blessed to be able to give a little assist for some people who might be down and out. So we'll continue to do that. I'm seeking the nomination again, and I'm pretty confident. But then that doesn't mean we stop working.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's none other than Senator Michael Halkitis, member of Senator.
I receive it.
I receive it. Put up all the hands, right? Well, he's out in St. Barnabas, and all those persons that support him. I know that you're listening in. I get a tremendous amount of you guys actually here online with us watching in. So I want to thank you so much for that. And I want to thank you so much, Senator, for being able to be here with us today.
Thank you.
This has been a great conversation, man.
Thank you.
But we gotta
Please have me
continue.
back. I'll be happy to come back.
Well,
like
the
I said,
by-election coming up.
okay, we can talk about that.
I want to talk about that.
All right.
And the general election is right after that. So I know that we're going to have a lot of
It
time.
is?
Yeah. And then also I'll be in another space
All right.
come November, the first week of November.
Okay.
So I'll invite you with formality.
Yeah.
And hopefully you don't get me fired again.
No, no.
right?
Oh, boy. But I just thank you very much for having me. I look forward
Absolutely.
to coming anytime, and I just want to once again congratulate you on this pivot
Thank you, man.
into this format. That
Thank you, man.
this is the future.
Thank you, man. I want to thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being able to be with us a little bit overtime today on the foundation. I want to thank you. And we're going to see you on Monday. Whoa, no. We don't have no Monday's a holiday.
Yeah.
Monday's a holiday.
Got to go to Adelaide Village to the
Adelaide.
Adelaide is having the King of the Grill competition at St.
King of the
James
Grill.
Anglican Church. So stop by and support them.
Go check Adelaide on Monday.
Yeah.
Guys, go to the beach. Be safe over the weekend. Make sure you go to the spa. We get that kink out of your neck. Do what you have to do. Reach out to my good, decent people. Vance them and all those guys over at Baja Retreat Spa. They can be able to assist you. Guys, I want to thank you again for being able to tune in with us. We're going to see you on Tuesday. Next God Spare Our Life next week right here on The Foundation.
I have a dream where the powerful and the powerless will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream.